Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Inessa and I am an indie author and I publish under the pen name A. Sage. I write fantasy in the YA genre and some sci-fi, but a lot of paranormal for the most part. If you are new here, welcome. So happy to have you. So happy to have you join the community. If you have subscribed or are considering subscribing, every week on this channel, I share kind of tips and tricks and things that I've learned along the way from many years of self-publishing and having now published 15 books up to date with more on the way. So if that sounds like something that you are into, then I hope you stick around for the rest of this video. In today's video, we are actually talking about how to build relatable and three-dimensional characters. Character work is the bulk for me of all of my writing. My books all revolve around some sort of characters. There's a lot of plot, there's mystery, it's all very adventure and action heavy, but for the most part, the way that I start working on any book is I look at the characters. That to me is the most important part. They all need to have their own voice, especially whoever the main characters are or is. They need to stand on their own. They have to be relatable, even if they're not relatable, if you know what I mean. And they have to be very three-dimensional. I really want my readers, my main goal with every book is I want my readers to feel like they either love or hate the characters that I write, and they have to love or hate them in a very realistic way, like somebody that they could possibly love or hate in real life. And so I thought it was kind of important to talk about that because it does take some time to develop characters that are either relatable or the opposite of relatable, but characters that are three-dimensional. It takes time to develop them. And there's like a few tips that I have for anybody who's having trouble with that on how to get there faster and easier. Let's say that. Just to kind of preface this as well, I do have character worksheets in the free resource library, and I've actually developed a kind of like a one-pager based on the information we're going to talk about in this video today. So that's going to be in the resource library for you to download for free as well. So if you want to get any of those character sheets, including the ones from today, then go ahead and click on the link that I'll have in the description, or you can take a look at the video that I'll link somewhere in the cards for the other resource library sheets and kind of helpful little guides that you might find that I went through when I originally posted it. But there's been some additions since then. So relatable characters, three-dimensional characters. Let's say three-dimensional characters because not every character has to be relatable. Even your main character could be the opposite of relatable. You could have a character that is your main character that you might want people not to like. And I actually have a book where I did that. I had a character that I needed to have a lot of negative qualities that will later be revealed as the book went on. But the first tip that you're thinking about when you're thinking about your characters, think about their backstory, right? Everybody has a backstory, a history, something that has made them who they are today. So when you are sitting down to think about your character, the easiest way to make them more three-dimensional is to think about what have they gone through in life so far, that has made them the way that they are. You might not even know the way they are right now, but you might know some parts of their history that might be interesting to you. You don't have to reveal this backstory, but just think about it as you're kind of sitting down. You also want to think about how you're going to reveal information about them. Info dumping about who your character is the fastest way to make a reader not only not like your character, but not like your book, and not pick up another book by you later. You never want to info dump anything, but you definitely don't want to info dump information about your character. You want to drip reveal this information about them. So what I mean by that is almost like thinking of your book and how you reveal your character like one of those like slow drip coffee pots, right? And every little drip is making the coffee stronger. It's making your character development stronger. So you want to drip reveal information about your character because think of it if it was in real life and you met somebody for the first time And the first thing they do is just vomit all this information in your face about who they are, what they've been through, what their likes are, what their dislikes are, what their mannerisms are. Like, they show you all their tics and everything that they've gone through. You probably would never want to talk to this person again, or like, you might want to get a restraining order, because that's a lot, So, when you have that in real life, if you put that into perspective, that's not something you want, and you don't want that in a book either. So you want to plan out how you reveal certain information about your character, about this backstory that they might have, things that could have happened to them, the way that they react to certain scenarios could slowly be revealed with every single step of the way within your novel. And it could work really well with the arc of your novel, and the development of your character as a whole. Then what you want to do is you want to work on the base inner layer of your character. If you're just doing a quick character kind of draft, and you're not going through the whole arc or any of the other stuff that we've talked about before, or the sheets that I have available, but if you're just working on their base inner layer, you want to think about what your character's goal and motivation is. These are kind of like the top inner layer things that you should be thinking about if you're only doing this one pager. So you want to think about their goal and motivation. So what do they want to achieve, and why do they want to achieve it? You want to think about their past wounds. So that will come from their backstory as well. So whatever has hurt them before in the past. You want to think about their flaws, what they're not good at. It's very easy to think about all the stuff that your main character will be great at, but think about their flaws. Their flaws will make them more relatable, more three-dimensional, more realistic, right? Everybody has flaws. Nobody's perfect. And your character should have them as well. Think of more flaws than you think you need, and then drip reveal some of them until you think it's enough. You want to think about the lie that they tell themselves, right? So based on these past wounds and these flaws, what do they tell themselves? Like, why can't they accomplish the goal according to them, right? The goal is kind of the end result. Like, that's where they want to be, they need to be. But because of these past wounds and their flaws, they're telling themselves they can't quite get to the goal. So you want to figure out what that lie is that they tell them, how they spin it, and kind of have that ingrained in them. And so at the beginning, that lie, it should be very, very apparent in your character. And they slowly chip away at it. And that's kind of their progression, their arc, right? And then you also want to think about who they really are on the inside. So the opposite of that lie. So you want to think about who your character truly is, why it is that they are meant to achieve their goal, and why they can do it because of who they really are. So how you're going to disprove the lie later. So things like that, not only will it help you with the arc of your character and the plot of your book, but it will help you kind of create a more three-dimensional character. Just these simple 5 things that you can think about their inner layer. Sorry. You also want to create some sort of conflict, and a conflict that will reveal their weakness in a way that keeps them from getting to their goal. So it doesn't have to be just one conflict. You can continuously put things in their path that will show more of their weaknesses and show how they're going to overcome their weaknesses. So their growth, right? So every conflict is going to make your character grow more, and it's going to make your readers connect to that character more, because in life, we have so much conflict, right? Everything that gets thrown our way, it makes us grow and become different people. It makes us develop and become who we are today. And so your readers will, in a very short span of time, really in the span of a book, will see that in your character. And you also want to, lastly, basically, kind of develop other characters around them. And all of the characters around them should have their own voice. Because the more characters you have, and I'm not saying have like 50,000 characters, unless you're writing an epic fantasy, but the more characters you have around your main characters, that have their own unique voice, the more your main character's unique voice is going to shine through, because they're going to be so opposite and so different from these other voices around them. And that includes the antagonist as well. So you want to position your main character amongst others that all speak their own kind of internal language. And all of that is going to be this beautiful dance of people, friendships and camaraderies and enemies and lovers and everything that comes together and makes your main character really shine. And it's using these supporting characters as the backbone for character development, which works really, really well and is a fantastic way to kind of show who your character is without necessarily beating your reader over the head with who your character is, right? So those are some very quick tips. It's not a lot. It's very easy. If you do want to kind of get the one pager of this, make sure that you download it, because it's basically like a worksheet that has all this information. And as you sit down to work on your characters, before you work on their arcs, even if you are not a plotter, if you're a pantser and you kind of just want to get to know your characters real quick on one page, so you don't have to go through like the arc and the plot and all that stuff, doing this one sheet is I find very, very helpful. I do this kind of exercise before I sit down to think about anything else in the book. I go ahead and I develop the characters really quickly. It's one sheet of paper. It takes like 5 minutes to complete, and I have a much better understanding of who the character is. And when I have that, I start to think about the book more, and it gives me ideas for the book. So it's a really good exercise to kind of to take part of. And I find it very, very helpful for every single book, story, or anything else I write. So hopefully you guys find it helpful as well. Let me know what your favorite part of developing characters is in the comments, or if you want to, let me know who your favorite character you've ever read was. I'd love to hear who you guys' favorite characters are that you have ever read that you just can't stop thinking about and you really connected to, or that you hated so much you can't stop thinking about them. So definitely comment below and tell me about those characters, or about what your favorite part of developing characters when you write is. So with that said, I hope that for those of you who stuck around for the whole video, it wasn't a very long one today. I'm trying to keep them as concise as possible, but helpful nonetheless. So I hope you found it helpful, and I hope that you consider subscribing if you haven't yet. And if you have, thank you so, so much. I'm so excited to continue to put these videos out for you. And every time I hear that something has been helpful to someone, it seriously like makes my entire week, if not month, if not year. So let me know. Reach out to me, message me. I'm always more than happy to chat. If you have any questions or any other videos that you want me to do, comment them below, or reach out to me on social media or some other way, on email or something. And I look forward to hearing from you guys and seeing you again next week. And with that, I hope you stay magical and have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye.